Hey there, I am doing some what I would like to call research for my art. I am out here at Jones Park. I'm sure you can hear the birds around me, but I'm out here at Jones Park in Gulfport, Mississippi, snapping some photos this morning and maybe even doing some painting while I'm here. As you can see, the water has receded. We're at low tide right now, or shortly around the time of low tide. So there's a lot of this like nutrient rich sand and like silt out here that all the birds are kind of pillaging through for snacks. But there are quite a few birds behind me, and I think I'm actually about to have to go move a little bit farther down the beach because we have a fisherman walking in, scaring off quite a few of them. But so far, just like walking around, I have seen a couple pelicans. I've snapped a couple photos of a great blue heron that was just kind of like walking in like the shallows. There are so many pigeons, so many pigeons. And keep in mind, I'm still trying to get a little bit more fluent with birds, of just like knowing them straight off the bat. I only have like my few that I see all the time that I'm really confident about. I've seen a bunch of laughing gulls, but those are super duper common down here. And I've even seen, like in my sights right now, I have a ring-billed gull. I've seen a willet as well as quite a few like sandpipers or ruddy turnstones. They're kind of in the sand. I mean, like look me looking straight to the sun, so I can't see a whole lot. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what photos I can snap today and share them with you, and maybe a couple paintings with you too. So stay along for the ride. Okay, so stopping off right here for a moment. There is a great blue heron right over here, as well as what I believe is a snowy egret. For reference, with my camera, if you were curious, I shoot with a Panasonic Lumix G95. It was a little present to me when I moved down here, actually. I was previously using a Canon Rebel T7, and although it was great, when I got kind of to the end of my lens, there was just like some vignette. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I am self-taught in most things I do. But this vignetting in the edges of it when it would get to the full like 250 millimeter extension, and I didn't love that. I think those are. Can my camera pick them up? Don't think so. Okay, here. Oh, that is gorgeous. Oh, that is lovely. And in the true fashion of, nature nowadays, we got a plastic bottle in the background. I want to try to get around to the other side of this heron, maybe without scaring it. Oh, that is lovely. That is a lovely shot. And now, about to move on further down the beach. I hope you really enjoy this. One thing to know about me, as whether this is the first time watching one of my videos or you've been watching quite a few, I'm a yapper. And to be completely honest with you, I don't know if that ever comes across on a lot of my videos, because I like script out what I'm doing, and so I don't like allow myself to yap a ton. But like, it is just me out here. It'd be one thing like when my boyfriend's out here with me, I feel like I don't yap as much. That's also kind of subjective though. But I feel like I yap a little less because I'm just like super focused on what I'm doing. But like when it is just me, I will talk the entire time, especially because I feel like, I feel like we could be friends. Like, we could, just get to know me. And, yeah. But, right here, let me check where my camera's angling. Gotta wash my bag when I get back. There's a great blue heron right out here. There's some gulls. We have the heron from earlier with a much better angle. Not shooting directly into the sun. Come on, look back at me. I will say, I think the animal that made me enjoy bird photography, like, I enjoyed it. I started enjoying bird photography probably around 2022, I think, is when I got my first long lens, and that's when I really started enjoying bird photography. But when I moved down here a few years ago, I think that's when it really, like, set off for me of, like, wow, this is something I really like, something I really want to, like, I just really enjoy having it for myself. But I love being able to share this with people, because these are, like, creatures you don't really think about a whole lot. You just drive right past them, they walk right past you on the beach, and it's, nothing. Yeah. Oh, and this is as I just snapped a plover. I think, yeah. I'm not sure on the specific type of plover, but I think they're such cool little birds. I love the little birds. Like, the big birds are majestic, and they grab your attention almost immediately. And that's why a lot of people really love them. That's part of why I love them. They're part of why I, like, fell in love with taking photos down here. But the little birds, time and time again, have made me love it even more. Maybe we'll be, ooh, yes. I don't know if, this heron just really wants to pose for me today. Love that. I start moving, so does he. So we're gonna try to get over here on this other side of a bunch of these birds, because although the sunrise gorgeous this morning, and it feel like it rose kind of quick. It was dark and then it wasn't outside. I would just like to get on the other side of these birds, make it a little bit easier. Just to make it a little bit easier to take photos of them, so I'm not, like, looking directly into the sun for these, because I'm also trying to be mindful of the amount of photos I take, because I looked at my camera this morning. I've got about 300 photos left on this SD card. And one thing to know about me is I am a ridiculous overshooter. I take way too many photos. But yeah. So we are actually going to look right over here. So let me just set my tote down. There's this plover again. Is it gorgeous white and black bird? Let me see, where is it? What does it look like in my sight? So we're gonna try to get a couple steps closer without freaking it out and get to its level. I think these are all such cool animals that are just not appreciated. I feel like bird watching in general is something that like people don't appreciate, especially when you're like a little younger and enjoying bird watching, because like for me, I was made fun of, jokingly obviously, but I was kind of like made fun of by one of my best friends, because she was like, oh wow, Brooke, you found your grandma hobby at 20. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I did. Look, I love this camera. I will say, I don't recommend it for birds. The autofocus is so slow, and I can't ever, like, I struggle so much to get a bird in flight with this camera. My Canon T7 Rebel, fantastic. My boyfriend has taken so many good flight photos with it because the autofocus is so quick. So do not get this camera if you want good birds in flight, or just good autofocus in general, because I was actually talking to this guy I work with who is a videographer and photographer, and we were talking about cameras. We could compare cameras and video setups and stuff like that. He's like a true professional. He's got like multi-thousand-dollar things that he works with. And so it's really interesting kind of seeing like what I work with versus what he works with. But like, even he was like, yeah, that's actually not like the best one, but go you for making it work. As you see, I'm passing a lot of seagulls and not taking photos of them. I take quite a few photos when I'm kind of like in this area, in like an area with them, especially if they're making like a really cool pose. But frankly, I've got so many pictures of seagulls when I first came down here, I don't feel the need to consistently add to the amount of seagull photos I have. Although they're pretty cool birds, they're like a dime a dozen down here. I look more so, because it's mainly like the laughing gulls. You see them all the time. I take a couple photos of them every time I'm out here. But like the ring-billed gulls, you see less. The herring gulls, you see less. You got some sirens going by. So, oh no. Yeah, I got a little too close. But we're gonna. And that's on me. But I should have been a little bit more aware of where I was in comparison to these birds. But we are gonna step here, and I'm not setting my bag down because I just set my tripod in a whole thing of water. But I don't know if you can see it, but there are some least terns. So I'm pretty sure those are least terns out here. Those are the birds that I just accidentally scared off. And right now, like, they've been really protected down here, which is really great. And like, props to the like Audubon Society, the Audubon Society and all that. They do a fabulous job of like checking on like their nesting areas and roping that off, so that way they can have a good start to life and everything. Ooh, there's a pelican. Oof, that was straight into the sun. That was not very good. But it looks like the terns are just kind of like grooming right now, I guess. Not quite sure, not like 100% sure of what they're doing. What kind of birds we got? Oh, those look like, I think those may be Caspian terns, maybe. I'm not good with, like I said, I'm not good with like super specific species. It looks like we have some, but it looks like it's either Caspian terns or royal terns, or for these over here. These terns are like the little cutesy little bitty ones. I loved last year just like sitting on the beach, watching them fly around, diving in for food. It was so fun. But the royal terns are really cool to me because like they're a bit larger, and I gotta be really mindful of where I'm at. We have a bunch of them right over here that I don't really want to scare off. So we're just gonna we're gonna stop here and get down to their level. I jack up my shutter speed with this because I'm staring straight into the sun. There it looks to be like a willet way out here, and I think, and like I said, I'm not 100% sure on any of these. I love kind of going through after popping the photos into Lightroom, editing them. I got a little too close to the least terns, so they are a little freaked out. But I feel like those are like definitely the easiest birds to scare out here. We are going to stop off right here on the edge of where it starts getting a little drier. Ooh. So right here I see a lot of gulls. Yeah, these are definitely some royal terns way out here. You can kind of tell with like the black stripe across their head with like the orange beak. I'm almost certain is a royal tern. Please tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. I welcome any and all feedback because I feel like I'm still kind of early on my birding journey. I love like appreciating these animals, but I'm still new to like learning what they are and how to like best figure out what they are. Oh. Ooh, my shutter speed is a little low. Oof. They are very active and very vocal this morning. Just always fun. Such a cool shot. Really love to get over here on this other side. I know I'm like way out of camera range. I hope my mic's still working. But we are going to walk a little bit further down the beach. See if there's a little bit more to be seen. Really hope this has been recording this entire time too. A little worried about that. But I absolutely am so glad I came out this morning. It's about 7:30 at this point. I have been out here for about 30-ish minutes. We are gonna walk on over here. I don't know what you can see due to the like super duper bright sun right ahead. But I see some pelicans, obviously see some gulls, see some smaller birds kind of poking around, so we're gonna stop here in a second, check out what they are. I also see oh, that looks like it could be a plover straight ahead, so you can kind of see what I'm seeing. First off, we're gonna get this one again. Such a cool shot. This could be a ready Terns, but I think it may be a black-bellied plover. I'm absolutely in love with looking at this bird right here, though. It's so cool. It's just chilling. A couple more shots of these terns over here. I'd love if this black-bellied plover would like walk instead of just like staring at me. But oh well. Let's see. We are going to go a little bit further down the beach. I'm like a little wide because we got some of these terns right over here. Don't want to scare off too terrible bad. Like I said previously, they tend to scare a little easy. So I'm just trying to be aware of that and move a little slower to help them out. Oh, kick the tripod, Brooke. I'm really good at kicking my tripod. But we are going to come a little bit further over here so I can try to get, first off, all of this over here. Because there's a lot of birds just kind of like chilling over here, but also to get all of this with the sun like not right behind them. Because although the shots look so good, like it's these like really pretty silhouette shots, I don't love those really pretty silhouette shots all the time because you can't really see, you see the outline of the bird, but you can't like fully appreciate it sometimes, especially because some of the birds that get silhouetted are like really, really, really cool animals, at least in my opinion. But no, I fell in love with looking at birds when I got my long lens on my Canon. I started just like every now and then taking photos, but shortly after that, I spent so much time taking bird photos. And so I got quite the collection. Oh, it's a black skimmer. Hadn't seen any black skimmer this morning until now. So really glad to add that to my count. Although, as I know I should track these on eBird, I'm absolutely terrible at remembering to do so while I'm here. And with the fact that I don't really like know for a fact all the birds that I see here, unless, you know, they're the gulls I see all the time, or they're really, really special birds that you can know right off the bat, like a black skimmer. They're very interesting looking, so it's easy to identify quickly. Unless it's something like that, I don't feel confident in my identification abilities to identify them right off the bat. Yes, you could use the Merlin app and you could figure it out. I would rather spend the time that it would take trying to identify on the Merlin app to like actually just take the photos and figure them out later, because I feel like I'll miss out on like some really good shots by doing that. So I try to keep track of when I start taking photos, or when I first come out here, and try to keep like a mental head count of about what I see, and then the photos kind of fill in my gaps. But right out here we've got I believe a type of plover. I try to like use my screen every now and then, make it a little bit easier on myself, but I can never find what I'm looking for when I do that, which is like a little bit aggravating. Okay, now let's that is a young black skimmer. I thought that was just like a very interesting looking bird. I forget how interesting young black skimmers look, because although they have that like really distinctive orange beak, they also just like, wait, okay, those are skimmers. Those are laughing gulls. I haven't seen a herring gull this summer yet, except for like while I'm driving. The one thing that's so crazy to me is like a young laughing gull, in my opinion, makes me think of a herring gull, just because like the coloration on them. Let's come over here a little bit. Let's jack up the. I think that might be a little sandpiper. I think sandpipers are so cute, especially if I can get a sandpiper in the right light. I absolutely love the look of them. They're just so cool to me. see. Got about 150 photos. So it's safe to say I have been super conservative with the amount of photos I'm taking. So I'm really happy about that. I was really worried because, like I said, I am a notorious overshooter when it comes to taking photos. But I've held to my limit. I've sustained my limit very well. If I do say so myself, I guess. But let's come a little further down the beach. We're actually going to come up onto the sand, but I'll let you look at the water so you can kind of see what all I'm kind of walking past. So I trudge through this kind of gross Mississippi coastal water. It's so crazy to me that our water is like this down here. But honestly, like, you go out to any of our barrier islands, the sand is gorgeous. It's most of our issue with this is just that, like, the barrier islands don't allow it to flow out. So it just makes it a little more difficult for it to, like, filter out and to get fresh water in here. Okay, stop here for a moment. A young black skimmer. And we are going to keep on coming around. See, these birds are used to being around people. They don't scare quite as easy. I definitely should have stepped a little further away from that one. But, like, the gulls don't scare as easy. When they do, they're just being mean. But looks like we have a pretty good collection of birds right here without me really having to move a lot. I love these, like, long leg birds, even if it's like a small bird. It's got really long legs. I just think they look so cool. It's so toasty out here too. I'm really trying to play with, like, the reflections we have around with the, like, try to take advantage of the fact that the tide is low, and so a lot of these birds are kind of walking with their reflection. But I don't know if you can hear the birds kind of behind me, like the sounds that they're making. A lot of these behind me are laughing gulls. And they clearly get their name. Like, whoever named them was very humorous, because they do sound like they're laughing, which is obviously how they got their name. They're like caws. Their calls, they sound like they're laughing while they're talking to each other. And I just think that's so funny, so cool, that, yeah, we have It looks like we have an egret out here. It looks a little too big to be a snowy egret. But maybe a young great egret, perchance. Just kind of trudging through some of this water. Trying to we have some pelicans way out here and just kind of floating along. But what I think I see, if my eyes are not mistaking me, I think I see a herring gull way out here. Herring gulls are easier to spot, partially because of their coloration. However, I have said that like a young laughing gull kind of has a similar coloration to a herring gull. Herring gulls are usually about twice the size of a laughing gull. Let me find it again. Here it is. Let's see. Let's look at that. Yep, did not come in as good a focus as I would hope. We're gonna slide over here, make friends with these laughing gulls. Because I love if like in a photo of herring gulls, like when I take photos of them, I love when I can also get a photo of like where there's like the smaller gulls right there with it. Try to step. Felt like my shoe was about to start getting sectioned in. I'm now more intrigued about this bird. I'm not 100% convinced that it's just like a young laughing gull. I've taken what I think is so many really great photos. Obviously, we'll see how they were a little bit later, but I look forward to using these as inspiration for some of my next paintings. When I go to start a painting, most of the time I'll go through and I'll go through my camera roll and see like what photos I took that are visually interesting or fit whatever vibe I'm trying to go with. I would love to take advantage of the fact that like it's good weather. Like it's 7:50 in the morning, it's 80 degrees, so it's not miserable to be out here yet. In a couple hours you will roast like a turkey on Thanksgiving. But I want to kind of give you an overview of what I brought with me today. So I've got a beach towel on the ground right now because I'm about to sit down on it to paint. But I've got my Panasonic Lumix with a G95. My Panasonic Lumix G95 with a 100 to 300 millimeter lens is my go-to. If you've seen any of my bird photography vlogs before this, you know that is my holy grail. I have for my painting, I've got a Swedish towel. Whatever. I've recently switched to these for watercolors, and it's been really great because it just soaks up all the paint. You don't have to deal with a wet paper towel anymore. Got my small sketchbook. I've been trying to just like fill up a sketchbook before I start a new one. And lately I've really enjoyed playing with like the different sizes with this one. A water bottle that I'm about to drink out of and about to use as my watercolor water. A scrunchie to pull my hair up just a second. A little jar, literally from like the dollar store for $1. But a cute little like Eastery jar. It's perfect size for watercolors. My teensy tiny, like here I've got like all the colors with me. But teensy tiny, super cute watercolor palette. And then a just little like 2B pencil to sketch with. It's just the one that I still had in my bag from the other day. And I also have a sharpener and an eraser with me, just in case. And just like a size 6 paintbrush. This is kind of my go-to for most of my painting. So, brought all of that as well as, you know, my keys, my phone, in this tote bag. I absolutely love. Cannot recommend a good plain canvas tote more. So for this painting, I'm just trying to figure out what all I actually want in it. And one of the things I've seen people do is they'll have like a square, like a triangle cut out for like their plein air painting. Ooh, there's somebody else out here right now taking photos. There's this guy who's like fantastic in like eBird. I love checking his guides, seeing everything he saw. So, did they actually hit record? Cool. I actually still have my camera right here beside me. Probably should take the lens cap off. But if I see just a fantastic composition I want to keep, I really like, which I really should be snapping photos of these black skimmer coming across because they're so freaking cool, guys. The black skimmer was the first bird that made me just really like stop and go like, wow, because it's such an interesting bird. But fun fact, this is my first time ever actually playing. Is that how you pronounce it? Please comment, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm self-taught on most things. Here's some previous paintings I've done. This one I absolutely love. This is my next one. I'm like turning these into canvas paintings, but I'm just using like my watercolors. Although I'm primarily a watercolor painter, I feel very comfortable with them. I'm kind of using that as as like a study almost, I guess, and kind of like planning out what I'm gonna do. So let's see. Oh, it is getting a little toasty already. Oof. See if I may need to speed up my my sketching. It is a wee bit toasty. Oh, this dude out here taking photos, he's got what I would call a dream lens for me. He's got like an extra long one. I want one so bad. So bad. You know what? I hate drawing. I'm so bad at drawing. It's one of the weirdest things. It's like I learned how to paint before I learned how to draw. So it's weird because like I can paint, and I always kind of tell myself it's because watercolor is very forgiving. But I don't know. I have been lately kind of teaching myself how to paint. So that's been really great. It's made me feel a lot. I mean, not teach myself how to paint. I know how to paint. I've been painting. I was one of those kids where my mom loved it, like really enjoyed painting. And so she doesn't paint as much as she would like, but she never shied away from giving me and my sister paints to work with. So we're just gonna, this is gonna be like a really rough paint. Using a little bit of black to dull the water. There's so many of these like little, oof, these little like sandy channels that I'm just kind of like trying to leave room in the water for them. get some of this out. I painted it just a touch too dark. Now we're going to get some of this sand. We're going to do some yellow ochre. It's a very like yellowy sand. It's also very dark. I'm going to do a little bit of yellow ochre, a little bit of brown, and a little bit of blue. But I did not have enough yellow ochre, so we're going to see. My issue, I love painting. This is not the palette I usually use. If anybody has any recommendations for like a watercolor, like a travel watercolor palette that like the water doesn't bead up, I would love those recommendations. That is legit my only issue I have with this palette. Like the water just beads up so bad. And it makes it so irritating to paint with sometimes, because it's just like, I don't know, it's just really hard to mix because it just beads so bad. Usually like when I'm painting at home, I have a like, I don't know if I would say it's embarrassing. It's definitely not of the norm, but I have like a ceramic plate I usually use to paint. And I absolutely love that. Because it's so smooth. And actually where I got the idea was I saw the prices of all of these like ceramic palettes, and I was like, that is crazy how expensive they are. And so I was like, I feel like I could just use a plate and get away with it. It's not like anybody really judges what you use to paint. And so I was like, let me do this. And I got one plate. I tested it out with like just one of my normal dinner plates. Probably not the safest nor healthiest thing to do, but I did it and I loved it actually. And I've used it ever since. Now I need some lighter sand over here on the edge. So I have like the really light colored beach. But first I'm going to do a little bit of the sky. I'm going to water down this light blue a ton. And like, this obviously isn't supposed to be a fantastic, just like a work of art. I just wanted to get practice with like working with objects I'm like seeing right in front of me. Like I've said before, I'm self-taught in most things I've done. Self-taught in photography for the most part. I learned like the basics in high school, but like for the most part, self-taught. I just do my best, I guess, is a easy way to put it. there's not a whole lot of movement with the water. So I'm instead of just trying to add movement to the water in the back, I'm just going to try to darken it along the horizon because it is a little darker way out there. And then I just touched too much water, so let's blend it out down. Great. We're gonna make a little dark brown. These birds right here in front of me. Just gonna do like some little, like, and then a little bit further out. And then for right here, we're gonna do just a little light. Probably should have waited. Mark, that was stupid. You got wet paint over here. We're just gonna. That was really stupid. You forgot how wet that paint was. So we're gonna come over here. We're gonna light, add more water, kind of lighten. We're gonna do the not wet sand. And we're gonna also use a little bit of this brown. And got the fencing. And let me make a little gray, which is all I'm doing. I'm not even adding white. Contrary to what I would have done 6 years ago when I started. I was a lover of white. I ran out of white paint so quick. But I've since learned that you don't have to necessarily use black and white paint to make gray. You can simply just water down your black watercolor and make gray. Ooh, that's a good addition. Let's see, what is that? We got a reddish brown boat out here. That's what I'm doing, just make a little red brown. Add like a little boat out here. Like I know this is so bad, but I'm not necessarily trying to make it great. I'm trying to give myself a little practice. I also would just love to like paint more like in public, and I feel like I psych myself out a little bit about it. So I feel like this is a good thing for me to do, to try to like get more used to painting in public, I guess. Gonna add a little bit more. Gonna really darken this because it's further away. What time is it? Wow. We're gonna add a little bit more of this Prussian blue One of the things I did not realize when I got Prussian blue is how much I was going to love Prussian blue. I will use it in almost anything. It is my favorite. It especially became my favorite when I was doing like 911 art, because I was trying to practice people, and I loved the show. I still love the show. It's just not the same. It's just not the same anymore. But love the show, and every week after the episode, I would go through and I would take like a screen grab of either the episode or something that like inspired me, something that made me think of like the episode, and paint, and it was lovely. And then like these out here, they've got like a really nice orangey kind of roof. So we're going to take orange. We're going to take a touch of red. And we're going to take brown. And really kind of darken it. Yep, that is almost on the money. We're going to do a little touch of red. I'm going to add a little bit more to the sky in a couple places. So wet on dry. Just adding a little dimension, I guess. And I'm going to call it here and start adding some like little sketchy details. I guess the details aren't sketchy. I will be sketching the details. And for that, I have brought my Pigma Micron 002. Not 002, 02 pen. A lot of people kind of sketch these little details out before the paint, but I decided to wait until after to just kind of take the details I made, take these little blobs, and turn them into something. It's so peaceful out here this morning. It is starting to get sweltering though. It is cold, white, toasty. There are 3 herons out here with me now. Nice. It's 3 herons. Like, I know you can't see it because of I've got you facing this way, so you can see like all these gulls and like a boat kind of flowing in, and then like maybe you can even see like a pelican way out here. But over here to my right, there are 3 herons, 3 great blue herons. 2 of them on the sand, one of them like into where the water's supposed to be. We got 2 egrets over here, and 2 more actually a little bit further off. So I'm really looking forward to like when I finish this painting. I'm looking forward to like the walk back to my car. And taking some photos. I'm also kind of toying with the idea of turning this into like an hour-long vlog just to kind of see what people actually watch. So many like little fly bugs. My friend, oof, I love her, but she would be freaking out right now. She hates bugs. She calls them creepy crawlies. I was wondering if I saw that correctly. Oh, there's an osprey now too. At least I'm almost certain that is an osprey. Come on. Can't wait to see what this is. So, not a great painting, but not the worst thing I could have done. I'm not even 100% sure you can actually see everything I was using, but I was kind of taking like pieces and parts and kind of converging them a little closer together. But this is my painting for the day, and I'm about to start walking back towards my car and maybe snap a couple photos along the way. Thank you for coming to the beach with me today and taking photos and watching me paint. Even if this isn't a super spectacular painting, it kind of gave me a chance to practice my skills. But like I said, thank you for coming to the beach with me today and spending some time. I love doing this. If this is something you enjoy watching, let me know and I'll add this into the rotation a little bit more, because it's definitely something I enjoyed filming, because it was just really nice and low pressure, and it just felt like I was taking my friend to the beach with me. So stay around, subscribe if you want to see more like this. Definitely leave it in the comments if this is something you really enjoyed and you want to see more of, because I read every single one of them. I respond to almost all of my comments. So I can't wait to hear your feedback. Thanks.